Once upon a time, there were two brothers named Beck and Nash. Beck and Nash loved to play with Legos. One day, they decided to build a tower as high as they could. So they started with one brick, and then they added another, and another, and another, until their tower was so tall, it reached all the way up to the ceiling. It was so tall, it was starting to get really wobbly, and it was starting to tip back and forth like it was going to fall over. So they reinforced it by adding more Legos to the sides. They spent hours building onto this thing, and they were so busy that they didn't even realize how big it was getting. When they finally stopped to look at their work, they were amazed to see that they had built an entire wall. So then Beck said, "Hey Nash, what if we build another wall on the other side and then we connect the two together? We could make a huge fort out of Legos." And Nash said, "Let's do it." So they kept building and building their fort until it was late into the night. And they were so tired, they just fell asleep right there on the floor. And when they woke up the next morning, they looked up and saw that they had actually finished their Lego fort. And they were so tired after everything they built the night before that they didn't even realize how far they had gotten. But it was done. And as it turned out, they had built this Lego fort with a doorway right in the middle that they could walk inside. They didn't even remember doing this. So they both walked inside the doorway, expecting to have a little Lego room there where they could hang out. But once they got inside, it felt a lot bigger than they expected. There was even a hallway. "Huh?" Nash said. "Hey, Beck, do you remember building a hallway last night?" And Beck said, "Come on, let's see what's down there." And they both ran down that hallway. And they kept running down that hallway for what seemed like a long time. The hallway curved left and it curved right. And it went up and down. Man, where was this hallway even taking them? Were they even in their house anymore? There was no way a huge hallway like this could even fit inside their house. And when they finally arrived at the end of the hallway, they saw a door right at the end, made entirely of Legos. And when they opened the door and walked through it, they found themselves in a dark cave with a faint light off in the distance. And they started walking toward the light until they came to an opening that led them outside. And when they got outside, they were standing on the side of a giant mountain overlooking a huge Lego city. It turned out that door they walked through was actually an entrance to another world where everything and everyone was made of Legos, even themselves. They looked down at their hands, and instead of seeing 5 normal human fingers, all they saw were 2 curved fingers, just like a Lego person has, because they were Lego people now. And when they looked at each other, they saw Lego versions of themselves. And then Beck felt someone tap him on the shoulder. And he turned around and he saw a Lego man who said, "What's wrong there, young man? You look like you've seen a ghost." "Where are we?" said Beck. "Yeah, what's wrong with our bodies?" said Nash. "What do you mean?" said the Lego man. "You both look as healthy as any other Lego kid here in Blockhaven to me." "Blockhaven?" said Beck. "What's Blockhaven?" "You ain't never heard of Blockhaven before? Well, that's the name of our here city. You're staring right at it, kid." Beck and Nash started walking down the mountain and wandered into the huge Lego city. They were amazed at how detailed everything was. They saw Lego cars zooming down Lego streets, Lego people walking around, and even Lego dogs playing in the parks. It looked like Blockhaven was built right next to a Lego ocean. And then suddenly, they heard a loud commotion coming from the docks. And as they got closer, they saw that there was a gang of Lego pirates. And they were creating all kinds of chaos. They were stealing Lego treasure and causing destruction everywhere they went. But then they saw a group of Lego superheroes trying to stop them. But the superheroes were outnumbered, and the pirates were winning. Beck and Nash knew they had to help, so they joined forces with the superheroes. Beck suddenly felt something in his back pocket. He reached back and he found a slingshot. So he grabbed it and he started launching Lego projectiles at the pirates. And meanwhile, Nash started building a bunch of Lego booby traps that caught the pirates and slowed them down. This battle was intense, and there were explosions and Lego bricks flying everywhere. But with their combined efforts, they were able to defeat the Lego pirates and save the city. The superheroes were so impressed with the two brothers that they welcomed them onto their team. And after their victory, Beck and Nash were even celebrated as heroes. They even had a parade in their honor going right down the main street in Blockhaven. The brothers felt so proud of themselves and of their new superhero friends. And after a long day of fighting and celebrating their victory, both the kids knew they had to get home. So they waved to their superhero friends and said, "It was nice to meet you, Lego friends. We gotta go home now. See you later." And then they ran back up the mountain and they found the cave and they ran inside of that. And they went all the way down to the Lego doorway and they opened it up and they ran down the long hallway and finally arrived at the entrance of the fort they had built. But when they walked through that doorway, they found that their room and their entire house was made of Legos now. They were kind of confused and getting a little bit scared, and they looked down and saw that their hands were still made of Legos too. They looked at each other and saw that they were both still their Lego selves. They hadn't changed back into normal human boys yet. What was going on here? And it wasn't long until they discovered there was a force in the Lego city that had turned the entire world into Legos, including their own. And Beck and Nash thought, what could be powerful enough to transform us and the entire world that we live in? And how did our fort turn into a passageway to another world in the first place? All we did was use our regular Legos. It's almost like someone on the other side wanted us to discover the Lego world. Beck and Nash knew that they had to find whoever or whatever did this and turn everything back to normal. And then they looked down at the ground and they noticed a little Lego instruction manual on the floor that they hadn't seen before. What's this?" Nash said. He picked it up and started reading it out loud. "When human children are transformed into Lego children after passing through the doorway, the spell must be reversed by midnight the next day, or their new Lego bodies will remain permanent." "What?" Beck said. "We have to change back, Nash. We can't be stuck like this forever." Beck ran back into the fort and he headed straight for the hallway, but then he smacked right into a solid wall. The hallway had disappeared, along with the doorway to the Lego world at the end of it. The two kids would have to find another way back to the Lego world in order to break the spell. And they had to be fast because time was quickly running out. But that's a story for another day.